Malaysia, including the frozen product, and some they import to Thailand via the Mesok market, and some eventually to the market in Bangkok, like in the Samyang nearby here, the seafood restaurant. I saw some product for the Salween River too.
Yeah.
And Carl, last one, please.
Just a short comment. So I agree with John's comment that you do a really good job of integrating so many different observations about the community. The one that I'm really interested to know that you didn't mention is how do people feel about the changes that have happened in terms of their livelihoods over the past 15 or 20 years? Do they think it's a good thing, or what's good and what is good change and what is not such good change?
Yeah, within 15 years back, 10 to 15 years back, because of the fish stock changes, population changes, so become the labor also and then their social economy and the income also change. It is not because of only depend on the fishery, but also because the extent of the economy and high income from the in the when they go to the abroad, they got the more income. That is why this situation is happening. So, but my chapter is focused on the fishery, the fisher. So, but from my interview, the local people, they said that within the 10 years back, they changes a lot, but they adapting. But now the government is trying to stop the decreasing of the fishery and changing. But I think it's not. It will take time to get the sustainable level, but it will be to hide the local adaptation to the environment change.
So when you write a chapter, there's a lot of different questions, isn't there? I mean, so the work doesn't finish with the writing. So just now, questions about international markets, questions about fishing practices, questions about social perceptions, and one more question from the colleague here on the right about poverty methodology. So you're supposed to know everything about everything. Go ahead.
So okay, you mean the methodology? Methodology for my research, or I wonder that for the IRM, the Integrated Resource Management?
No, ma'am. Actually, I'm talking about the projections that World Bank and IMF projected, because they told us that there is a high poverty level, but the international organizations were projecting a positive outlook. So may I ask, are you in favor of that methodology, or what are the possible lessons learned that we can get from that?
Okay, my methodology is based on the interview and the focus group and then the participatory, the survey. So that I focus on the indicator which this indicator can show the decline of the fish stock, or they are changing and they are labeled like that. So I choose the indicator. So within the 4 villages, I find out the pattern, and then I make the table.
So Professor Cherry has drawn on that information. Do you have some concern about that methodology as being not the general methodology, but the IMF World Bank poverty methodology that you would just draw people's attention?
No, sir. Actually, I'm into socioeconomic impacts, so I'm very open in getting some methodologies, or I'm open or receptive to other methodologies that we can employ, both IMF methodologies and the grassroots level. So I'm asking because there is a possible fusion for that.
And that fusion will have to be discussed over dinner. Okay. Last comment, please, sir, Professor.
I'd like to add some more. Not the socio-economic impact in this area is not only for transboundary migration, but also in country migration also. Because I've been working with other researchers in Jamwe and Yei. They came from Molamyai to Jamwe and Yei. They are fishers. Their expertise are fishing. So they are not transboundary migration, and they are very poor. They cannot afford to do the large-scale fishing. So they migrate to the Ware and Nick also. That's my comment.
Thank you. I mean, obviously, every place is socially very complex, physically very complex. And I think your excellent chapter has provoked all these other areas that people want to know more about. So, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kin Sanga A from the Loikao University, and she will share with us a chapter that you have written with a colleague. But I'll let you sort of introduce it, and we look forward to it.
Today I would like to say that my research is impacts on land cover changes on socio-economic conditions of volcanic districts, KR states in Myanmar. In this paper, my study, the socio-economic conditions are related to the political conditions, and land cover changes are related to the political conditions are studied in this paper. This is my contents. Introduction, research methodology, land cover changes and livelihoods in volcanic districts, and 3 periods are compared based on the land cover conditions, socio-economic conditions, and political conditions are via studies. And then the next chapter is the implications of land cover and livelihood changes, implications for forest productions and local livelihoods, change in land cover governance, and future policy implications. In many regions of Myanmar, there is a close relationship between peoples and forests. A 2010 FAO report, 70% of Myanmar total rural population depends heavily on forests for their basic needs and for their employments. Between 1990 and 2010, 90% of the forest lands are clear-cut, so it's the 7th highest forest deforestation rate in the world. Timber is an important export that occurs through both legally and illegally channels in my study area. This is my study area. It's a southeastern part of Myanmar, and my study area is the southern parts of KR states. It's by data and methodology. Topographic map and field surveys are used in this method, and my study area based on 4 criteria. There is a location near the Dani River and far from the Dani River, in densely forest area and the less dense forest area. And then in this area, land cover conditions are analyzed on Landsat images. This is my study area. 2 of the villages are along the Dani rivers and 2 villages are far from the Dani. So, out of 3 villages are located, settled down in this area, and group settled in this area. Land cover change and livelihoods in volcanic district. In my geographical point of view, 7 types of land covers in volcanic classified in 7 types of land cover conditions. The majority of land cover in this area is forest land. So in this area, human activities are logging, shifting cultivation, extractions of tin and wood frames and fuel woods in this area, and so types of forest cover has changed in this area. At present, forest lands are degraded and less vegetation cover than previously. Within the Stary area, political conditions have had a direct impact on land cover change because before 2010, this area is the conflict areas and then the 5-year period foreign peace agreement 2010 to 2015, followed by the brief discussion of the more recent periods after the establishment of the new governments in Myanmar 2016 to at present. Periods of conflict before 2010, this area is not peaceful and not easy to contact from Volcay and other areas. In this area is a respondent between 10 to 15 years ago, they live in this area. The previous land cover types is forest. Up to 15 years, people said this area is the white forest area. So this area is rich in many species of valuable timber. So look at people, depends on their economy based on the forest land. At that time, logging companies are prevented to access because the risks of attack and landmines in this area. This map shows the 1995 land cover types in Volcay district, and that one is 2010. Following the peace agreement 2010 to 2015, the past 10 years, these areas increased in deforestation and decreased in the qualities of timber because this has changed the lives of villagers in each community. After 2010, the peace agreement between the militaries and Anglos are signed and security is improved. That government allowed to this area private and state logging company access to forest area and permission to Anglos for the forest extractions, minings and minings. So more Anglos entered to ceasefire agreement. These areas are no longer conflict extended. Reserve forest and then government in this area established in the two sawmills and permissions of forest extractions, and they plant in nursery gardens established in this area. It's a 2015 land cover maps. The NLD government's period, 2016 and present. After the 2015 election, the new NLD government came into power on April 1st, 2016. They announced to implement a one-year logging ban throughout the country. According to 2016 records, the Forest Department established 2 state-owned forests and 7 community forests in this area. Near the end of 2015, as a part of the greening project, work in this area, Jose Village and local camp groups accept the government policy to start replanting teak and hardwoods. This map shows the forest, only forest area in Volcay districts. Implication for forest productions and local livelihood. The economy of Volcay district depends on forest productions. Agriculture is a local concern, and RS remote sensing data in surveys, questionnaire surveys, this area shows that the significant changes of land cover conditions, especially in forest degradation, so some area extending the settlements and mining. So most of the land use change occur in the central part of the Stary area. That in these areas, the lots of land for national resources conservation and conservation. So changing land cover governments, that area found that the agriculture expanding and shifting cultivation contributed to forest depletion and awful villages. Local people relies on forests for building material, medicinal plant, food, orchid, rural foods, and hunting, collect these products from the forest area and sell them for their livelihood. Timber extraction is the major economic activities in Gaya State. The main cause of forest degradation is the legal and illegal extractions of the timber. However, local people in areas are also depend heavily on their forest production for their incomes. In January 2016, the US government passed a new national land use policy. The aims of the policy is to systematically manage land use and ensure tenure rights in the country. And the objectives is the harmonizations and implementations of existing laws related to land, and it provides guidance to relevant departments and organizations on issues related to land use and tenure rights. While this policy has significant implementation for the study area, and at the time of research, it had not yet been completed. Therefore, its on the ground impact cannot be assessed. Future policy government implications. Forest cover is declined and also the land use cover change. The socio-economic conditions of local people in Balkans they link to political changes in the regions and the country. Changes in forest cover is a direct impact on people's livelihood. Some people, at the time, some people move to another areas and job opportunities, and some people go back to this. Some villagers move to old village to new village. Especially in my study area, one of the Buku village, they moved to the new area, but their agricultural lands and their forests are left in the old village. So one room is they go back to their old village. One room is another near the towns, and one room is another parts of the Myanmar. Key conclusion is that there is a large gap in knowledge about environmental conservation on the part of the governments, local governments, and community, and land use decisions need to fully consider the implications of deforestation on ecosystem health, local livelihoods, and the sustainability of future timber extraction activities. A key finding of my study area is the forest depletions and changes in land utilization have caused changes in the local economy, and the study area degree forest cover timber extraction has now shifted away from the forest area, and the fuel wood must now be collected from the village. Some people began to cultivate different crops, and some are raising animals for export to legally and illegally export to neighboring country. Within 4 villages study, over 40% of the residents have changed their livelihood from the forest productions to other economic activities. Some have they are changed to their crops. Firstly, their agriculture is a local concern, and at that time, commercial crops such as jasmine and the China spices, cinnamons are grown in this area. This is a final key finding of my study area. Forest depletions and changes in land use take place when political circumstances change and villages seek to change their socio-economic status. There is a lack of planning for natural resources conservation and utilizations on the part of all actors. The government must increase effort to raise awareness of environmental conservation and land use development policy. For example, the government should promote community-based natural resource management in villages, because many of the my study area villages are not educated. So policies and guidelines for the sustainable development that guide local and regional decision makers should be informed with accurate information to understand the impacts of land use change. This is 2017 to 2019 planning and established forest areas in my study area. So Mese, Fasong, and Boracay area, planting area based on springs is the Mese is the largest areas in plantation planting area. Is the community forest of Mese Township is the borders of the Thai and Myanmar. This is fun. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure being a chair when the professionals are disciplined with time and you don't have to do anything, right? So look, to me, my quick reaction before we hear yours is, it's just a reminder to me again of, you've got to actually do the work and dig in and try and understand something before you can then say anything, really. So you've dug in and sort of looked at, what is physically happening. You've then had a look at the political history, and you've then, so you're trying to explain what happened and why. So you can then actually make a difference. So, someone has to bring that all together, and well done to you on, and your co-author on sort of bringing together part of a complicated story. So that's what goes into my head when I hear that presentation. What do other people think? Quick reactions, please. Lady at the back. And others, just catch my eye. Ooh, yeah.
Thank you. Really interesting presentation. You had land cover and forest cover rates for 2015. Do you have anything after that would let us see what the trends up until now look like? And the other question is, how much of the deforestation is driven by timber extraction compared to conversion for agriculture?
This area is one of the Myanmar Encyclopedia record. 19 metric tons of forest extractions in this area, no land cover change. That time, so agriculture is a extension in same area. So my study, two villages in my study area is the extensions of agriculture, sesame and cinnamon is a plant growing in the forest area. So forest area, so decreasing forest lands and increasing the agricultural lands in the forest area. So I think some villages are changed to the forest areas. And some areas are in my study area, one of the villages are replant the forest replantations of the community forest plant.
And so the deforestation is being driven by the timber?
Yeah.
That's where the money is?
Yeah.
More than agricultural expansion? Yes or no?
It's some area is cinnamon plants is growing in the forest area. So in that area is a plantation is a shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation means sledge and bank cultivation. So they cut the trees and the plants in that area. So the loss of the forest area. So another conditions of the forest loss of this area is mining. Mining is another cause of this area. Is James and Wolfram is 1960. I think under the British control periods. At that time, James and Wolfram extract in that mine in that area. So it is one of the reasons for deforestation. So at that time, that area is a landslide. 2015, and that time occurred a landslide in that area.
The lady was curious as to, do you have any other data post 2015? Was it
2000?
Yeah. Do you have pictures?
Yeah.
2019, 2018.
Not yet. I compare the 1995 years interval. 1995 to 2015. At present, I cannot get this map.
Okay, right, next question or comment, please.
It's a comment. I have a different observation on the law enforcement that Chie Young presented about fishing and the depletion of fish resources. Actually, according to my observation, it's not, it's a different thing. From the government side, they have law enforcement, and the illegal fishermen are being taken action by the fishing department. The only thing is in jail, the police have no budget to feed those fishermen in jail. And also, those who seize them from the fishing department has no budget to feed the fishermen caught. So this is an area gap to add more budget for the government to take action in this area. This is my
Brought another factor in. Any more questions for Dr. Kinstanda I? And then while she's answering them, if there are, yes, Professor Cherry, could you also come back up again? Yes, that lady and that gentleman.
I was interested to hear about that 40% of people have changed from forestry to other economic activities. I was wondering, and obviously from what you just said in answer to the other lady's question, that this has been perhaps also a long time coming since the change in 1960s with the mining and so forth. So it's a long period of time of deforestation and people changing their livelihoods. I was just wondering, when you went in there and observed these livelihoods, how did people feel about this change? Because 40% is quite a big slice of the population that's changing their livelihoods.
Okay. 2006, after the 2016, so many agriculture companies came to Japan. Companies came to this area and they buy salesmen. They buy salesmen in that area. So they give a high price. After that time, agriculture salesmen and other cross trade depends on the neighboring country, especially Thailand. So they came to buy these crops and then they encamp. At that time, another companies came to this area because it's a accessibility and peaceful time. So they buy the China spices, cinnamons and sesame. They came to buy this area. So they got more income. So many people changed to their agriculture plan. Firstly, after that time, they have cultivated crops are local consumption. At that time, it's changed to the commercial agriculture.
Thank you. Now, so.
Thank you for your presentation. According to your presentation, do you see any evidence about the community forest also to become cause or deforestation or not?
Community forests, at the times, my study area, one of the villages accept this community forest, and then some villages are no.
Okay. Turn me off. Okay, that's on. This session, as you see, it's sort of reconciling knowledge across divides. So what I'm curious about is just suggestions, any final comments or suggestions from the floor, or your good selves, as to, what are the things that you would really like to suggest, the community here could consider in terms of, respecting different knowledge, bringing together different, knowledges. So you can go first, but then I'm just putting all of you on notice to have the opportunity to share your suggestions about this subject of the session. So yourself and then others, yep. And these three will be last. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay, this is more relating also to Professor Salween's student, I think Minzo. Minhu
Okay.
was also focused on the timber trade in the, I think the Kayan customary area, and how there's been a shift in the way that people are looking at customary forest governance post the NLD-led government coming into power. And he was speaking about local communities being convinced or informed that since the democracy is coming, when democracy comes, the forest will be cut down and sold anyway, so they should get ahead of the curve and cut down some of the trees that they would not normally cut, some of the big trees. Is that correct in some of his writing?
Yes, and that area is also the Salween River basin in Kaya State, called Pekong Township. And Southern Chan State, but near the Kaya State, right? Sorry. So as you mentioned, the traditional forest management is going on all the time, but not because of the political change, but because of the population and the other changes, but not 100% changes. Some areas cut down the tree, but not, illegally. The forest areas were owned by generations. They are practicing traditional forest conservation, their own rules. So that area is, the forest area is still very good in that area.
Time is almost beating us. I think this gentleman's question will follow. So please, you have another quick comment on this?
Yeah. So my comment and suggestion is that if possible, makes the university is mostly more research about the community forest to support it for the for deforestation or for more good for the forest. Because according to what I understand is that most of the cronies or some business people, they try to apply by the community forest, and after that they try to get the monopolization, and also kind of the JACA or other international agents in support of a lot of the agriculture business in that areas. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. The comparison between the presentation by Pifang and Sayama, I think in Thailand, the government trying to save the forest area and even more than 90%. So somehow this implication also could pose a risk to the food security to the local people and indigenous people. It seems not balanced between the use of the natural resources and the livelihood of people. But in Myanmar, from your presentation, I saw that seems that people overconsumption the natural resources. But from my point of view, I also see that some law and some existing law are also make a big problem to the natural resources. For example, the new law about the virgin land and vacant land. This give a favor to the investor, and we think that if we have a law, it's going to be better and it's going to save the environment. In fact, it is not. Some law even make even worse. So I think if we look from the community point of view, I think they are consume the natural resources. At the same time, they also know how to make it use in a sustainable way. I don't think it's only from the because of the local community, the depletion or the environmental forest deforestation happen. It's also from the investment and other factor as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another good point. And the last word from the floor from the young man from Myanmar, studying at Chula.
Yes, I mean, I just could comment. Again, is a very interesting presentation. First, I think if we are talking about deforestation in Burma, I think we can't ignore about Wu Deng's policy on rural plantation, because this is a very have a very big impact in Burma, because right now Burma is like the seven biggest rural exporter in the world. And then these also really change, the deforestation in Burma. And the other thing too, I feel like maybe we are talking about the local level deforestation. What about are there a lot of research going on, especially with the big businesses, because these are the group that really make a lot of forests gone. Are there any research about that? Because it seems because the communities don't really impact much, but these big business really cause a lot of deforestation. So any comment about that?
Oh, hang on a minute, or I'll get into trouble. You're asking everyone for a comment on that. It's really important. But I think we're also going to have to end the session because we have another panel after this. So what I've promised is just a 10-second final remark from our three panelists, and then we'll thank them, and then we'll have a coffee. Okay, Professor Cherry.
I would like to say thank you very much to all to be here, and then for valuable discuss. And we are researchers, but we learn a lot from the audience, from all the people. So now.
I thought you
now it's time. Now it is time to finish our panel session. So thank you very much, all.
Please.
Thank you very much for everybody. Thanks for your valuable suggestions and comments. And in my study area, I next research. I work that area, so I learned more about many informations, and I contact them the relevant groups in that area, and the Kalyana Metta Foundations in Kayastik, they facilitate in this area to collaborate with the community forests and lot of the forests. So I contact them, and I best the next research. I want the best research in next time. Thank you.
I just want to say that I feel like what underlines their work, as well as some of the other contributors, is that resource politics can require multiple lenses. So there's a lot of complexity to what we heard in terms of tracing a history, forest cover change, local politics, community forestry, agribusiness, and the same for Cherry Ong's work in terms of the different aspects. And I think maybe just to underline, there might be assumptions about what a move in Myanmar means in the sense of democracy and peace, but I think this work kind of questions that there's some simple answer or response, that it's quite complex and really does require attention. And I think these cases really underline that or highlight that. It's not as easy as, we have democracy and peace, so all the forests are saved. It's a lot more complex than that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, session's at an end. I'd like to thank Vanessa and Professor Cherry and Dr. Kinsunder A We really appreciate your contributions, and please continue the discussion. I invite you to all put your hands together.